Hi, Fix-It Tony here. Today's home project is replacing the hinges on a cabinet door. My hinges on some of my doors have worn out to the point where they're squeaking or they're rubbing or they don't close. Normally, a cabinet door, this one's working fine, no noise, and it should auto close after about a third of the way. You'd want it to close. So this one doesn't need replacing. It's not an urgent issue, but what I am trying to do is replace those cabinet door hinges that are most often used. We have a house with some strange acoustics, so anytime a cabinet door bangs, it sort of resonates and it's just added noise to the house, noise pollution. So today I'm going to replace the hinges on this door with a soft close. So you can sort of see how this is slowly closing. And because this door is working so well, I'm going to do sort of a life hack on these sort of cabinet doors. I'm only going to replace one hinge with a soft close. What I've learned is that with these soft close hinges, if the cabinet door isn't heavy, it really takes a long time for it to close, almost to the point of it being annoying. But that's if you had both hinges being soft close. But I'm going to only replace one hinge. Normally, when you're replacing cabinet door hinges, you're going to remove the door completely off of the cabinet. And that's done by unscrewing the one screw on each of these. But because I'm only going to replace one hinge in my hack to have my cabinet doors close softer, I wanted to make sure that I don't add extra work to my plate. So what I'm going to do is carefully unscrew the hinges, the screws that are on the door, and then the one on the face frame. I'm going to reuse the same screws that were original. Now, because this is a light door, having the weight on one hinge only isn't going to be a terrible burden. Once the hinge is removed, if you want to save it, it might be worthwhile saving a good hinge just in case you have a cabinet door that is infrequently used that needs a replacement. Cabinet hinges are not inexpensive. So you support the door, slide it in, place the hinges back in, and I'm going to insert the screw on the jamb or the frame first. And then I'm reusing the old screws because they came from the factory. Sometimes you buy hinge hardware without the screws or with the screws. The screws that I got with this hinge was a little thicker and a little longer, and it would split the little insert that's in the door, so that's why I'm reusing the screws. There we go. This particular hinge, again, is the soft close. It is right from the factory. It's going to have some standard settings. I need to adjust it so that it matches the settings for the top hinge. This is easy when you're doing one, is that you're going to put the door at 90 degrees and you're going to see the distance between this door and this edge and this door and this edge. Down here, it's a little bit narrower than up there. So what I'm going to do is I turn the screw, this screw right here, you turn it and it will adjust the hinge inward and outward. So counterclockwise pushes the door out. I can use this as an adjustment. I can go a little bit more out. There. Now when I shut the door, it won't bang, it'll slowly close. All right, so the compression on this, there's another setting. So it's not as soft as I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is, there's a little switch. That little switch adjusts it. Now that the hinge has been replaced, if you test it, you can see the nature of the soft close. It's a little quicker than a pure soft because you have the force of the upper hinge, which is a normal spring, forcing the door shut. But the normal closure keeps this door from being so loud. Here's another example of a reason that I'm changing the door hinges on my cabinet doors. This particular cabinet section is next to my oven, so this is where I'm going to put cutting boards and cookie sheets, etc. It's a very narrow door, as you can tell, and it has the configuration of two hinges that are spring-loaded. And when you have such a small door with two heavy sprung hinges, you can sort of see what happens. It's a very aggressive and quick closing, and contributes to the noise pollution of the home whenever it's closed. So the idea here is also, let's see what happens when we replace just the one hinge. I only replaced the one hinge on the top, left the original on the bottom. Positive outcome. Slamming is eliminated, and overall reducing noise pollution in the kitchen. Buying replacement hinges, it's important to know what the overlay is. So you'll need to know the distance between the edge of this hole and the edge of the door, and in my situation it's 1/8 of an inch. So please make note of that. One final comment regarding replacing cabinet hinges. So you're gonna certainly have, you're gonna have existing ones, right? So the ones that come off your cabinet, and you're going to want to try to find ones online that are just like it. So the challenge is going to be, the pictures really don't do it completely justice, because you can find hinges that look awfully similar, but they won't fit. They will either be too small or too big, or shift the door in the wrong direction. So what we're talking about is overlay. And what you're going to need to pay attention to is that overlay number in the description. And what that overlay is the distance between where the hinge is right there, where my fingernail is, or my thumb, that part, all the way to this outside edge, okay? Then you have to add the distance from the edge of the hole to the edge of the door. That total length is your overlay. My cabinet purposes, it's 1.25 inches is my overlay. So remember to measure your overlay before buying hinges and match that overlay. Thank you. Have a great day.